Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Canadian Hook G12000 boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Canadian Hook G12000 boxing gloves. I got mine in the pearl white colorway, 14 ounces. It is a Velcro closure only model. You can get this anywhere between 10 and 16 ounces. Additional colorways include blue, red, as well as black. It's made of full, genuine leather throughout the entire glove with layered foam padding over the knuckle area that has a medium to soft density, and the gloves are manufactured in Pakistan. Now, Canadian Hook is a company based out of Ottawa, Canada that specializes in selling all different types of boxing equipment. From a design standpoint for a 14-ounce glove, when you're looking at this, I'd say it's right on point. I'd say medium in terms of profile, not too tall, not too wide or too slim, just kind of right there in the middle. If I were to make the comparison between this and another glove, I'd say from a shape and size standpoint, kind of reminds me of the old school Sabas super soft gloves in terms of sizing. So if you guys have a pair of those, that's kind of what you can expect from a sizing standpoint from the exterior of the glove with this. One thing you'll notice is that this is a pearl white leather, so it doesn't have that bright white look to it. It has more of a pearl sheen, so just depending on how the light hits the glove, it kind of reflects a different way. Definitely not metallic. It has definitely a really unique and cool look with the pearl, which I like. I think it looks pretty cool. You do have the Canadian Hook logo right here that is actually embossed into the leather, if you want to say branded into the leather, like stamped in there, so it has a little bit of a texture to it. And you do have the Canadian maple leaf in the background, as well as a couple of boxing gloves kind of hanging from that. A little bit hard to see. I don't know if I'd be a fan if they outlined that with like a different color, maybe like in black or red or blue, but I guess I wanted to kind of go with more like a ghost look where you can see the logo there, but it's kind of hidden a little bit. Coming up, you do have a 5-inch Velcro strap, so a very thick strap right there. That's made with leather. Rotating around to the palm side, it does say G12000 written vertically, as well as 14 ounces with the little shield logo around that. The back of the wrist has about 1 inch of firm density foam padding, as well as the inside of the wrist has that same firm padding. Comes up to right about here. That's about 1/2 inch on the inside of the wrist, and right here as well, nice smooth tricot liner on the inside with an elastic piece to connect the palm side together. Nice thick piping throughout the entire glove, and again the Velcro strap is large, and you can see that it's stitched both on the outside edge of the glove as well as right here on this inner tract, the double stitching. You do have piping around the thumb that is more of a flat style piping, as well as a grip bar that is firm but a little bit on the smaller side. I say the grip bar in here feels not really round, it feels almost like it's pointed, almost like a little triangle with the grip bar. And you'll notice that there is no ventilated holes at all throughout the entire palm side or even on the thumb of the glove. You also do have a leather attached thumb. So a very clean looking glove. You don't have a ton of logos or anything kind of plastered all over it. And that pearl leather definitely looks really good, has a nice shine to it. Quality wise, the gloves are pretty nice. I'd say the biggest concern is going to be the weight. When I put these gloves on the scale, they came in 2 ounces overweight. So I believe the left glove was at 16 ounces exactly, and I think the right was like 15.8 or 15.9 ounces. This is advertised as a 14-ounce glove, so one of two things happened here. Is they made the glove, it was intended to be a 16-ounce glove, and then when they printed on here, they misprinted. Or they did the outside shell, printed everything, and then overstuffed it with material and didn't even bother weighing it. So one of two things, for you to be off 2 ounces is pretty bad in terms of weight. Now, granted, for me, I'm not one that's really big on weight, especially when it comes to training gloves. So even though it's 16 ounces, for me, that's just more for my own conditioning. So yeah, it's 14, getting a 16-ounce glove. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more for my money. But again, going back to the quality, they are overweight. The leather on here is held up really nicely. The foam is broken in really nicely. That's one thing I noticed about this foam is when I first got it, it was a little bit more on the denser side. But the more I've used it, it's really softened up quite a bit. So the foam has really broken in nicely. The leather here looks really good as well. It has a little bit of a texture to it, a mild texture. The stitching throughout the entire glove looks pretty solid. You can see where the thumb meets the index finger. Looks really good. The outside edges throughout the entire glove. It is not a top-heavy glove. It's pretty well balanced in terms of the distribution of weight throughout the entire structure of the glove, both in terms of the front of the glove, towards the middle, as well as towards the back. And you can see the stitching looks good. Around the Velcro strap, looks pretty good as well. I'd say maybe around here it's a little bit crooked, but nothing too crazy there. Palm side, opening it up. All the stitching looks nice and symmetrical. Piping is done really nicely as well. Inside of the thumb looks good. Where the leather meets together right here, the index finger area, looks clean. Grip bars contained nicely as well. So all that looks really clean. Velcro is nice and grippy. Last thing though is when you do this, again, I had the same issue with another glove, is you do have a little bit of an overlap. So you can see here, I wish they would have this Velcro wrap all the way in this side. That way, if you do have a little bit of extra, it rolls over and you don't have this rough, scratchy Velcro that is exposed. So that's an issue again. You see some manufacturers do that where they just completely neglect that, and you'll have that poking out. And if you were to use these gloves for sparring, this can definitely do some damage. So it would have been nice either one, to have this shortened, or two, have an extra piece of this other Velcro right here on this side so that this can roll over and grab onto that rather than it just kind of flailing in the wind with that. So that's an issue that I've seen with not just this glove, but several gloves that have this type of Velcro. So outside of that, it's just really the weight and this Velcro strap, but the rest of the glove looks really good. Quality on here is on point. Comfort, another high point with this glove. It's probably my favorite part of the glove is going to be how comfortable the gloves are. You put them on, perfect thumb in terms of it being pulled in, nice and parallel. When I make a fist, you can see it does not pull down on the tip of the thumb. It does flare out just a little bit. I wouldn't say enough to where you can really poke somebody, but the attached thumb does its job. It would have been nice if it was a little bit higher up here and kind of pulled in a little bit more, but outside of that, I can't complain. It doesn't feel shallow. It doesn't feel like my thumb jams in there. Piping isn't too tight. Wrist support feels good. You can see that it's not an ultra long glove, so it doesn't drop too far down on my forearm, but you do have that big Velcro strap. The elastic feels good. And the gloves, again, just took me a little bit, maybe a few rounds to really soften these gloves up. But they come pre-broken in when you first get them, so you can open and close your palm to catch shots, to parry shots as well. Yeah, so the flexibility is definitely there, a little bit on the softer side. Finger compartment also has a secondary grip bar. Feels like a piece, not necessarily say like a piece of neoprene, I guess, over the stitching, so you don't feel the stitching. So you have your main grip bar and then almost like the secondary pad that your fingers sit into to kind of grip into. And the depth is perfect as well as the width as it on the inside of the finger compartment. So not too wide, not too narrow. I don't feel like my hands scoot around on the inside, nor do I feel like my fingers are bumping into each other. So in terms of the width, perfect width there. And you also have this really nice soft liner with the tricot on the inside. So it feels kind of more on the silkier side. You don't have that, you know, polyester liner that really bunches up in certain gloves. With this, it's nice and smooth and feels even throughout the entire hand compartment. I don't feel like there's any voids. So it really hugs onto your hands, especially once you have hand wraps on. So I'd say that this is definitely a really high point with this glove is going to be the comfort. Protection and performance of this glove, again, it's more softer and broken in. Another high point with this glove is that it's really a great training glove for everything in the gym, whether you're sparring, hitting the bag, doing net work, whatever you may be doing. I think it's a really good performer in all of those categories. If you use it with your heavy bags, it gets a good amount of pop. And I think that foam is awesome that they use in here. Just the consistency of it. I'm a little bit more of a fan of softer type of foams when it comes to gloves, just because I like that feeling of connecting with my target. And you definitely get it with this, but it also is not so soft to where you feel like you feel all the shock through your knuckles and ultimately to your shoulders and your elbow. But with this, soft enough to where you get that protection, but also you get that feedback that you're looking for. So definitely a high point would be that punch surface. And you see how it flattens out real nicely when you land. So you're landing on your knuckles. My knuckles are right there. It's not rounded out to where you feel like you're kind of in that position rather than here. A lot of gloves you get that are way too stiff. It almost feels like your hands are almost like that, and you end up kind of landing right here rather than on your knuckles. Or if you do want to land, you kind of have to overcompensate and almost roll your hand in that position just to land properly. So I feel like this glove, you don't have to do that with this glove. Cost-wise, this glove retails for about 128 US dollars, which I say is a little bit on the high side. It's not over, you know, I wouldn't say it's like absurdly overpriced where you see some gloves that are like, okay, you question the pricing on it. I'd say that these are about $100, you know, like in my opinion, you know. 120 is a little bit on the high side, not absurdly high, but I'd say this is around a good $100 glove, all things considered. You know, it's full leather construction. The comfort and the performance is probably the biggest positives, biggest pros of this glove. They're very comfortable and they perform well. So for me, you know me, I always like to put a big emphasis on comfort and positioning with hand. These do that very well. The big drawback is going to be this glove being two ounces overweight, and then just that Velcro strap having just a little bit of overlap. Also, it would be nice if they had a lace-up version of this glove, and maybe other colorways, which should make it a little bit more of an attractive glove model. So other, you know, for people that want something in a lace-up format rather than just in Velcro. But outside of that, I'm very satisfied with these gloves. A great training glove for everything at the gym. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do as usual. Put them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Canadian Hook G12000 boxing gloves. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.